Welcome back to Alt Perspective. My name is Tim. I am joined, as always, by our pastoral presence, Christy Russell. And we are gathered here today to discuss the separation of church and state. What does it really mean? Has it been abused? Absolutely it has. We'll talk about it. But if you're new to the podcast, welcome. We welcome you to Alt Perspective, the channel Alt Perspective Productions, because we have more than just this podcast. We also have the Adam Perspective. Sometimes we release smaller video projects as well. We have shorts that go up daily, hopefully. I'm going to try to make that happen, keep that going. So lots of content on here to keep you fed and keep you thinking, because we want you to be thoughtful Christ followers, not just brain dead, clock punching on Sunday Christ followers. Am I right, Mom? So that's what we do here. We take a cultural topic from the broad spectrum of cultural topics that may be becoming a little bit more focused here in the coming weeks. We'll see. And we break it down and discuss it from a Christ-like point of view, a biblical point of view, incorporate scripture, how we feel Christ would engage in modern culture. And that's just what we do here. So if that sounds good to you and you enjoyed this episode, please smack that like button, subscribe for more content like this, and do all the things. All the housekeeping out of the way. Let's jump right in. Mom, separation of church and state. You were not super excited about this subject matter at first. But the way I want to attack it is, the reason I wanted to attack it is because I feel like with the state of where we're at as a country, things heating up the way they are, I have a gut feeling that this ideal is going to continue to be abused, and abused in ways that we have not seen, or in worse ways than we've seen in the past. So the separation of church and state, initially, when you actually look into it, first off, it's not even a law, which people who tend to abuse this ideal of separation of church and state will try to paint it as if it's governmental law, when really it's not. It's part of the First Amendment, this ideal, and the phrase was popularized by Thomas Jefferson back in 1802, and really that's all it is. It's an ideal. It's never been implemented into government law from what I can find, and it's the reason that it was put into the First Amendment is because they wanted to protect the church above all else. It wasn't this idea that they didn't want, from what I can tell and gather, it wasn't this idea that that they didn't want the church to influence government in any way. It was more the idea that they didn't want government to have their hand in the church. And they wanted to protect the church and its independent state, basically. Do you have any initial thoughts on the idea of separation of church and state, Mom?
Yeah.
And
I
anywhere you want to go with this right away?
I was looking into it because one of the reasons I wasn't really oh yeah, let's do this and excited about it is because I didn't feel like I understood it fully. Like I didn't know the origins of it fully and how it came about. I mean, I'm not a history buff. I was neglectful to. I'm more enjoying history now than I ever did because I see what's going on and I want to know why. So I have to go back in history to find that stuff out. But when I was younger, I just had no interest in learning this stuff. I just thought, why do I need to know this? Now I wish I would have paid attention more. But so I did some initial looking into when you talked about it. I'm like, okay, sure, we can do this. I kind of felt like Eeyore, like, I don't know. I don't want to do it. but but I understand the purpose and the need.
Yeah.
And it's a good topic to cover. So I did a crash course, not crash course. I did I got to figure this out. I got to study. I got to see where it was birthed, when it was born, what it was about. And I think there was a little bit more than just protecting the church in the involvement in it, because I think part of the thought behind it, because the whole founding of America, it you know, I would say this, that I see there was like this undercurrent or worry of also a theocracy,
Hmm.
and that meaning that they wanted to force. I think they wanted, and we see that even if you look back into Salem witch trials and different things like that. I think part of it was because it's anti-God. That's
Hmm.
why they were all about finding these witches and killing them and putting them to death. And we see this before we had a lot of law, before we had a lot of governance. It was kind of it was called the Wild West and different things for a reason. It was called, we were somewhat undeveloped in those things, and we just took things upon ourselves as we saw fit to put people to death, hang them, kill them, do whatever. And I think part of the problem in all this is that the fear of a theocracy, meaning government, they didn't want government as it was being formed to force people to be Christians or force people to
Hmm.
be any certain religion. So this is also an aspect of the separation of church and state,
Yeah.
because they wanted civility, I guess you could say, or they wanted government to be its own thing. It's about rule. It's and not rule. That's maybe the wrong term. It's about keeping things in order and civil. And
Hmm.
it wasn't necessarily about dictating how one believes.
Yeah.
It was about law and order. It was about bringing some kind of um, order to things.
Yeah.
And I think they saw there was a fear in some of the founding fathers that this could easily become a theocracy, that if you don't believe this way, we could put you in jail, we could do what we, whatever. And when they realized that religion shouldn't have anything to do with that, it was a moral code,
Yep.
it was a moral standard that needed to be kept. In other words, we don't kill, we don't do these things
Yep.
because it's inhumane. It's not what we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so I think it was also part of that amendment was, we want some baseline.
Yeah.
And I agree with that baseline, because with all the different religions that have come into America over the years, it we had to have something that this is just about the governance. This isn't
Yeah.
about telling someone who they should believe in, what is illegal. Because can you
Yeah.
imagine if it was illegal to be a Christian, or illegal to be a Buddhist, or illegal to be a Hindu, illegal to be all these, when you have immigrants, and America is made up of immigrants that believe all different kinds of things. So
Yeah.
there had to be some baseline of what is going to be governed and what is not going to be governed. And so I think it has morphed from that and taken on gone way further than it was ever meant to go.
Yeah.
And so it was a protection of, also, from what I see, people that were candidates to run in public office. It was also, um, they didn't want their candidate's faith to keep them from running in office.
Yeah.
So if we went into this theocracy move, or there's one, I think, I forget which state still has it written
Yeah.
in their laws that you, I think, are supposed to be a Christian or something.
Hmm.
It's really weird.
Interesting.
Or that their faith is a part of who can be a candidate. It's crazy, but it's in the very fine print way back in the founding era. But it's only one, I think, one state left from what I was studying. I wish I would have done my second research that I was going to do and write my facts down. But I find it interesting that they wanted, whether you're Catholic, a Christian, or didn't believe, or you were an atheist, they didn't want that affecting whether you were able or a candidate to run in for a governmental position. So
Interesting.
I see the good
Yeah.
of this amendment, and I see that when it rolled over into the school systems and different things, that's where we see that, okay, I understand why we don't teach Christianity,
Yeah.
but we shouldn't be teaching anything when it comes to faith. That should be left to
Yeah.
the parents.
Well, and
And
that's,
also, we shouldn't be saying you can't pray in school.
yep.
Uh, I understand that there should be some line, that there should be um, that baseline again that says this is stuff that you should teach in your home. But what has happened is now we teach a lot of things that shouldn't be taught that have nothing to do with faith,
Yeah.
and they're anti-faith.
Yeah.
That's where the line has been crossed. So, I mean, that's my thought. I
Well,
see
and
the purpose and the good of it.
that's the interesting thing is this was intended to put the government into a neutral state on religion.
Yes.
And I've seen videos and things of schools having classes where they are teaching kids about other faiths, but they won't bring up Christianity. They don't teach Christianity in any capacity. Yeah. And so in my opinion, it's only fair that if you're going to teach other faiths, you should teach all the faiths. You should teach Christianity as well. The issue is that none of them should be being taught in school. No, I'm of that mindset. Public government funded schools should not be teaching or taking a position on any faith statements at all.
Yeah.
Even Christianity. And I say this as a Christ follower because I think it protects the school, the teachers, it protects the kids from their minds being molded in ways that the parents don't want them to be. Yeah. Because this is stuff that parents should teach. And it should be presented as a neutral thing. So I'm in full agreement with that. My issue with the school system particularly is I grew up, as I was growing up, I had a couple encounters in school, and I've even had a couple encounters in workplaces that the separation of church and state is abused, which I think is hilarious, especially in the workplace. In school, I see the barrier or the lines being blurred. I get it, but it's been abused. So I've had instances in school where, like, as I was growing up, I had my curiosity of the Bible snuffed out because I would bring my Bible to school where I'm supposed to be reading. We would have like silent reading time and stuff. And I remember bringing my Bible out during silent reading time one day, and my teacher told me to put it away and pull out another book. And I said, why? It's a book. Book is a book, man. And he was, he said, no, you can't read the Bible in school. And I said, well, why?
Which is totally wrong.
And he said it's separation of
totally
church and
not
state.
A law. No.
And I didn't push back on that. And he said it's separation of church and state. And he explained it to me as, well, we can't teach the Bible in school. We can't present Christianity in school as, fact. And I said, and if I had the knowledge to push back, I would have, but I didn't. I was a dumb kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't push back.
Which comes back on your parents.
Now, looking back at that, I'm like, oh man, he was totally wrong. Like, I mean, he was right at its core. Like, yeah, you can't teach it. You can't put a Bible in my hand.
Yeah.
But if I bring my personal Bible to school and read it publicly, you can't tell me not to.
That's right.
If I pray in school, you can't tell me not to. The only thing separation of church and state protects is other students from being taught by the teachers.
Exactly.
Or a school sanctioned prayer. Those are the things that are not allowed per the separation of church and state. And so I thought I still look back at that time and I'm like, man, I wish I had the understanding to push back, because I would have. Yeah. And so that's one example in school. And then I've had a couple times in my workplaces where I've been told that I can't speak publicly about my faith. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
why? Like, I can't be open about my faith at work. I'm like, no. I'm like, first off, you're not a government funded or sanctioned entity.
Anything, right?
So, no. And even if it's part of your HR policy or whatever, which is your right as a private business or whatever, even if it's part of your HR policy, you still can't tell me I can't publicly profess my faith in your building. Yeah. The only time that you would have any grounds to fire me or write me up or anything for publicly professing my faith is if it was affecting your business.
Yeah.
And it's not. Guess what? Most people don't care. Like if I'm a publicly professing Christ follower. So yeah, those are just a couple things that I thought that I've grown up and gone through life, I've had encountered, and at its core, each time the separation of church and state was the argument for why I couldn't. And now looking back, I'm like, man, it's so twisted that even our educators abuse it.
Yep.
That our educators abuse it, and they use it and manipulate kids into thinking they can't practice their faith in school. It's like, there's nothing about it that has anything to do with me practicing my faith publicly in school. All it has to do with is you can't organize this stuff as a school. So that's the one thing that's really bothered me about separation of church and state, is just the way that it's been abused in our school system. Do you have any thoughts on that specific angle of this, Mom?
I do. So, I think you're right on. And I think I know this would be a tangent, so I don't want to really get on it, but I think it's something that we need to talk about probably in the future, is that I look at hearing you talk about that moment with your Bible. And I don't know if you remember, there was also a moment where you were talking with a friend, I think, at school, and about Jesus, and they told you shouldn't.
Oh yeah. That happened too.
And that was so out of line.
I actually
having a conversation.
I actually had that friend ask me for a Bible.
Yeah.
And
they told you
my teacher
you were out of line.
My teacher did a drive-by and was like, she shut the conversation down.
So wrong.
And I was like, what?
Yeah. And so this is the overreaching, the taking something completely, to me, out of context. It was never meant to be that. It was actually, like you said, to prevent that from happening. That one, in a sense, what I was saying is, when I was studying it out, it's that a person can run for a position, a government position, and have faith and be a Christian, and should not be discriminated against for that faith. Now, where that faith comes in that position is, I don't try to push that faith on the world. Say I become president, and this is where we would talk about, is this what some say Christian nationalism is trying to do? Make Christianity a national thing across the boards, that because we were founded as a Christian nation, this is what should be. And I disagree with that, because that is the freedom thing. That the reason America was founded was to be a place where we could practice whatever faith, whatever religion. It was for freedom.
It's meant to be a melting pot. It's meant to. That's the beautiful thing about America, is it is meant to allow you to believe and say whatever you want. So if you as an American don't like somebody else's faith, and you want to approach them individually, that's fine. You're allowed to say whatever you want to them.
Whatever you want. Conversations. It's free reign. It's mandating that through government.
Yeah.
It's trying to push Christianity or push any other faith in government. And that's where we cross the line of separation of church and state. That's why Christian nationalism doesn't work.
Yeah.
And some would argue with me on that. Even close friends and relatives would probably say, "Oh, it doesn't exist." But honey, it does exist.
Does exist. Yeah.
And so you may not want to call it that, but the thing is that that's the very thing that why the First Amendment was one of the very things that why um it was at the First Amendment.
Well,
What amendment was it?
I believe it's
It's
the
part
First
of the
Amendment.
amendments.
Yeah, it's separation of church and state is part of the First Amendment, which, if I remember, is freedom of religion.
And I think that's what one of the
freedom of
things is.
religion, speech, press, assembly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think it was because there was a fear, and rightly so, because some of them had that Christian foundation. There was a fear of a theocracy type thing, that it would become a mandated thing, that the only religion. And why would that differ from China or any other India or any other areas? And I'm not even
Yeah.
sure where they're at, so don't quote me. But I know other countries have basically an overarching religion that they push, and if there's anything else, there is intimidation, and
Yeah.
sometimes um
And the other side to that too is you can have a national religion, but that doesn't make everybody go, oh well, government said this is the right religion, so guess what? People
Yeah.
are still going to be individuals and have their own beliefs. UK, the national religion is Christianity, but nobody cares over there.
Yeah.
They're being taken over by Islam, and the actual citizens of the UK don't. They spend all day in the pub. You're telling me they're all Christians? You know,
Right.
They might believe in God, but I mean, they've given up. So I don't really understand this idea of wanting to force a specific belief upon an entire nation. Because and the thing about the First Amendment is it's freedom of religion, not freedom to practice Christianity. It's not that specific.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's this idea in Christians' brains, specifically in America, that freedom of religion means that it only pertains to them. It's like the subconscious.
I don't know that that's what they believe, but
I'm not saying that's. I'm not saying
exactly.
I'm not saying that's what they believe, but that's how it comes across in practice. Yeah. You know, and I don't really understand that. So it's like as much as I disagree with Islam, if they want to immigrate over here the right way and practice Islamic religion, I can't stop them.
Right.
What I have an issue with is the illegal Islamists that are coming over and taking over entire cities and trying to inject Sharia law into the government.
Yeah,
that's totally off base and totally against.
And how is
the First
that
Amendment.
Separation of church and
exactly?
State?
Yeah,
that's a church in itself. Islam is.
It is.
So it's no different.
And separation,
no
separation of church and state should be applied to them as well as Christianity, as Buddhism, as whatever church you attend or are part of, it should still be separated from the government.
Well, here's the thing: when your practices publicly start overcoming or they're overarching into society and affecting how government is able and how they should be, and keeping peace and keeping I don't even know what the word I'm looking, civility. I don't know. When our government or our religious practices go against what government has already established, there's a problem. There's a problem. It's not, and here's another, I guess, another thing I would say where separation of church and state is overarching and has crossed the line. When they say, when we had these, I don't know if you remember back when there was a bakery that refused to serve.
The gay wedding or whatever.
The gay wedding, and they were sued, and it was just a whole big thing. I just don't think. I think any restaurant should be able to say it's a private business. It's a business, even though it's public. They are the owners of that business.
Oh yeah.
So when they infringe that you have to serve someone, that is a religious freedom that has been crossed, and it's no longer serving what it was meant to do. It's meant to protect.
Yeah.
It was meant to protect my freedom to serve or be, or in my business, in my home, to do whatever I want with it. as long as I'm not
And
taking that and infringing on somebody else. They're choosing to come into my business. There's 1,000 other bakeries out there.
Yep.
They should have the freedom to choose not to serve.
And
Now,
there's
do I agree with it? I want to make this clear. Do I agree with them
Yeah.
not serving it? No, I don't.
There
I
was a
think
lot
it
wrong
goes
with that,
against
though.
Christianity.
There was a lot wrong with that, though. Like, I agree. I would have served them because first off,
'Cause
money talks. Like, at the end of the day, it's a business. I'm trying to make money, so who cares who pays
Well,
me?
I just don't think it's
And
a
then-
good representation.
And then
of
also,
Christ.
yeah, I don't think that. I think the Christ-like thing to do in that scenario would be to serve them, but try to
Absolutely.
speak into their life
But that's
while
my
they're
opinion.
there.
That's my
And-
perspective.
But as far as the suing them side of things goes, it's like, well, every business has the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason.
Yep.
That's
I
just
see it
part
right
of
here at Judy's.
that's just part of running a business. You if you're a privately owned business,
Yeah.
you have the right to refuse service to anyone for any reason. It doesn't matter what the reason is.
Yeah. Yep. And I see
You
it.
know.
I see it at restaurants. I see it right here in our little small town. And here's the thing. There's a sign up that says, "Don't be an." Basically, it says the whole word "a-hole," or we're not going to serve you.
Does it really say
It's
that?
there. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
it does.
amazing.
You should walk in and take a picture.
I love that.
I think I did take a picture once, and I was going to post it. I thought, but I'm like, you know what? It's their right. It's their right. It's when you come in the door, it says it, and then there's another one on a case that says it, and it's like, that's their right to not serve someone who is being stupid.
Yeah.
It's being an idiot, and could someone sue them for that? I don't see how they could.
Yeah.
You know what? It's their business. It's a private business, even though it's a public serving business.
Yeah.
It's still privately owned, and it's the same thing with the bakery. And so these are the areas I see them crossing the line with this and taking this completely out of context. That's not what the thing was meant to do. It wasn't what the amendment was meant to do.
Yeah.
It was meant to protect those that were running for office, no matter what they practice in their religious beliefs, as long as they weren't breaking the law.
And it was meant to protect the kids in schools who
It
wanted
was
to
meant
whip their
to protect
Bible
the
out.
kids in school. And here's the thing. I agree with you completely on the school thing, because here's the thing. If you're going to teach, which I don't think they should teach any religion, I don't even think they should teach atheism or anything, because that to me, that's another religion of itself.
Well, I straight up had a
And-
biology teacher tell me one time that God is not real.
And he had no right to do that.
And he basically threatened to kick me out of his class just because I believed in God.
Because he was pushing his religion on you.
Yeah, he was exactly.
That's
He was
his
pushing
religion.
He was pushing his religion of atheism on me. Exactly.
Yeah. And so this is where I think nothing according to faith or God, or even, they present evolution. Do they present, I don't know, I wasn't in school. Do they present creationism at the same time as they
Don't.
They present,
They only present, which I hot take. I don't even think they should teach evolution because
should.
it's a theory. It's not a fact.
It's not a fact.
And
See, this is
they
where I
do,
think they
to be
cross the
fair,
line,
to be fair, they do teach it as a theory. And
Yeah.
again, our ability as people to take things out of context and misrepresent them and misuse them, as with the separation of church and state, we also have misrepresented and taking the theory of evolution out of context, because it's still a theory that hasn't changed. Nobody's presented it as fact. Nobody's been able to prove it as fact. And
you're gonna have to edit this if you don't stop talking. Oh, goodness gracious!
no, it's definitely making it in. Anyway,
No, it isn't. Stop it. I snagged a loogie.
I kept your accidental.
I saw your little front, whatever it's called, whatever they're called, the picture. I said, he used it because that was my face when I accidentally said sex.
No, those were two different instances, but that's funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was. I figured you kept it in there.
But what I was saying was, I think that yeah, my hot take is they shouldn't teach evolution either, because it's a theory.
It's just a theory. I don't see the need for it. I just
It's just
this
so
is stuff
pointless.
that should be within the home, within whatever the family chooses.
Yeah.
But they don't. And here's the thing: a lot of the education system thinks they should be the one to educate the children on all this,
Yeah.
and that's part of the the agenda.
But when
to
the education
that
system
undercurrent.
is only consistently pumping dummies out, I mean,
Yeah.
where's your argument for why you should be teaching us anything? Because you're not doing a very good job at teaching us the stuff we need to know.
Yeah.
You know, that's my
I seriously think it should go back to, and this is just my, and I know it's probably off topic. I think it needs to go back to the five, the main five: reading, writing, arithmetic, gym.
Oh yeah.
You know, home ec.
No
I think
gym.
they need home ec again.
No gym. Gym
No
can,
gym.
Gym
No
can
gym.
die.
Jim can die. Tim hated gym. He would. I think you took a incomplete in that almost all the time, or whatever it was.
No,
Did you sit out a lot?
I didn't.
You never dressed
You
out.
gotta
did you, or
see.
something?
You gotta see just for dressing out. So I would put my
Oh.
gym clothes on, but then I'd sit on the bench the whole time. I'm not gonna sweat. They didn't
You
give
hated sweating. You hated.
They
sweating.
didn't give you enough time to shower, like before your next class.
Tim's like, not happening.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna sweat
You were-
and then go the rest of the day smelling like a pig farm. You know.
You were the child that I would randomly find you in the shower, just showering because you broke a sweat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, as
No,
young as I can remember,
as soon as a bead
Yeah.
of sweat drips out in the
Tim
shower.
was in the shower.
In the shower.
Yeah.
I don't like being moist.
My son never stunk.
Didn't like being moist. I'll tell you that much. I was
Boys
very
usually have a odor problem. You never did.
I
but
was
because you just
very
constantly
self-conscious about smell, odor,
Yeah.
being sanitary. Like I don't know, I didn't want to be the stinky fat kid in school. It's like I'm already
Yeah.
the tubby kid. I don't want to be the stinky tubby kid, you know?
Yeah.
So because I knew the stinky tubby kid. And every time I had to sit next to him, I was getting concerned that his stink was rubbing off on me.
Oh no, that would just be tragic.
Yeah. I showered.
Tragic.
I had to come home and shower just because I had to be around him
Because you sat next
for
to
like
him?
30 minutes a day. Yeah. Worst math class in my life.
That's great. Oh my. Yeah, Tim, I really believe that I think along with how we've developed in America, in the church, in the school system, all this, I think it's like we need to hit pause.
Yeah.
And revamp everything and go back to the simple basics. In church, in education, in government, what would happen if we hit a reset button?
Like,
I mean,
yeah. Well, I pitched this idea to you, like a month ago, where I said, man, if we as the church, because we were discussing the church, said if we as the church all just took a minute
Yeah.
to go through everything and go, okay, this is core to what Jesus taught. This is core to what Jesus taught. And
Yeah.
to filter out all the BS, all the secondary crap that really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And start with the core that Jesus was born, carried out his mission, died, rose again. If we just start with that core and let's rebuild based off of why can't we just rebuild the church based off Matthew 5?
I think we can. And I wanna go back for a moment because I have a little bit different take on it than you. I think to go back and to strip it back to the simplicity like you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The other stuff matters. It isn't crap. So in my viewpoint, it's not crap. But it's extra. It's extra stuff that is important, but it's stuff for us to explore in our personal lives, in small studies and different things like that. But it doesn't have to affect how we interact with each other.
Exactly. Well, that's my thing
our
is like
faith
the
and
reason I call it
Christianity.
crap is because
It divides more than
it divides.
brings
It doesn't build. It doesn't unite. It doesn't do anything beneficial for the church as a united body. You know what I'm saying?
The problem is we allow it to divide us rather
And it's
than
not
have
and
good conversations.
the reason I'm
about it.
comfortable calling it crap is because my salvation doesn't hinge on it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not stuff that my salvation hinges on. I'm not saying that we shouldn't care about some of these things, but the problem is again, for some reason our human nature is to get lost in the weeds and start focusing on trimming one weed and spending all day on it and not realizing that there's a root to that weed. It's like you're starting at the top of a weed in a field of weeds. Yeah. And you're like cutting from the top, working your way down, when you could just grab that boy by the root and just pull it out, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the church does. We just get so caught up trimming the weeds from the top down.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah, I think it causes so much division, and I get that. I think there's one more core that we would need to add to that base core. And because he did ascend into heaven, but he also descended in the form of the Holy Spirit to live inside of each and every one of us. Right. And that is one of the most important factors, because it empowers us to live our lives free from the burden of being imprisoned to sin, and to preach the gospel and to share that gospel with others and to see others come to Christ. And so without the Holy Spirit, so I think that's a really important addition. But I think your core is true. I think if we could focus on that core, we could focus on the commission of Jesus, and we would be less distracted by all the little things that really don't get us to heaven.
And this is the thing too. In my own personal walk with Christ, by following Jesus, by reading the Gospels, by understanding what the Gospels meant and are, and focusing in on those, because the Gospels are the accounts of Jesus. So that's what's teaching me how to walk like Jesus. By studying his encounters with other people, by studying the Sermon on the Mount, by studying his teachings and the way that he walked and engaged with people, I'm able to start walking more like Jesus. And in studying and going deep on the Gospels themselves, all of the other stuff has come in alignment to the point where now I'm getting hung up on little sin. You know, I'm like, it's following Christ in an authentic manner has stamped out all of the big sin, what we would consider big sin. It's stamped out the alcoholism, the addiction to adult content, the whatever. And now I have no big sin to obsess over. And also I was only able to conquer those things when I stopped obsessing over them.
Yeah.
I stopped focusing on the sin and I started focusing on Jesus. And by focusing on Jesus, the sin fell away.
Yep.
And so there's something to that, in that if we just stopped focusing on what I called the BS earlier.
Yeah.
And started focusing on Jesus, all the other stuff's going to work itself out in time. One day you're going to wake up and you're just going to understand inherently that, oh, maybe Mary wasn't as big a deal as the Catholic Church is making her out to be.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's not, maybe the alcohol itself isn't the problem. Maybe it's my heart posture towards the alcohol that's the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe the sin isn't in the bottle, the sin is in my heart.
Well, yeah.
And that's the thing, is like, I'm using these as examples to say these things work themselves out, because as you align your sight and your vision and your mindset and your heart with Christ, the other things work themselves out. That's the only way I was able to overcome these big picture. Actually, I'm going to use the word transgression, because me and Isaac talked about it on the last Adam perspective.
Okay.
There's its difference between sin and transgression. Sin is
I haven't watched it yet, so.
Sin is the one, well, I'll give you a little review. Sin is actually a one-time kind of accidental you know,
Yeah.
like sin is the thing you do that you don't understand as sin till it's enlightened to you as sin. Transgression is the repetitive sin,
Yeah. Over and over and
the
over.
willing sin.
Requires almost like a mindset because
Mm-hmm.
you've just decided.
And that mindset is Christ. You got to focus on Christ to overcome your transgressions. So yeah, I don't know how we got off topic, but anyway, I say all that to say the reason I went off on the tangent of what if we as the church stripped everything back? Let's now apply that to society and government.
Government, to
And
school systems,
let's
all
get
this.
back to the core of what our government was built on. And not the individual little things, but like let's freedom of religion, speech, press, and assembly, and petition. That's so straightforward to me. Like you don't even have to go in depth.
Yeah.
To tell me what that is. I can read that one line and go, that's pretty simple.
Yes. Well, don't you think that if we did this, it would bring a lot of peace to the United States?
Well, I think, let's talk about the schools a little bit more. I think a big reason there's not peace in the United States right now is because of the lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac says it all the time. People are educated beyond their capacity, basically, beyond their intelligence. So, referring to intelligence as the thing that allows them to process and understand and go deeper. Whereas they have all the information, but their mind doesn't know how to process it because they were never taught properly how to process it. So what we're dealing with is we're in a world where we're being fed information, and we don't know how to process it on our own. So we're just going to the next smartest person to process it for us and going, well, this person who has a platform said it. So
yeah.
And that's why there's so much unrest and lack of peace, is because nobody's thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
They're picking a side. What is that side saying? Okay. And when people start to actually think for themselves, they end up where you and I are at, Mom, where we're not really in alignment with any side except the side of the kingdom.
You know, as we're sitting here thinking, because your mom's a visionary, your mom is a dreamer, your mom gets these wild, crazy ideas. I'm just thinking, how cool, how amazing would it be? And I think this is a lot of charter schools, that we would have a school that would just teach the core curriculum of math, reading, arithmetics, some shop classes again, home ec, things of that nature. No gym. Leave that to their own. No gym because of Tim. No gym because of Tim.
Overruled.
Just different things of that, and exploration, and have a class where, what is your dream? What is your vision? What is your likes? What is your wants? And let them hone on those giftings. Let them be shaped in the giftings that they're naturally going, whether it's engineering, whether it's and I know that's what charter schools are about. And so, but nothing says we can't be people of faith that do that. We don't have to teach religion in a school setting, or Christianity in a school setting, to have a good education system. And we need to realize that is our responsibility as parents at home. So to have a school that maybe has people of faith in it, but we set the course and the trajectory for this can be done without the two overlapping.
Yeah.
And I know some people do it, because there was many charter schools in Michigan that managed to do it well, and they had the founding people of it were people of faith, but it didn't cross over. They taught the basics, they taught what they needed to teach, and then they had one area that they developed, whether it was the arts or drama or engineering, but they would focus, and that's how they got their funding from colleges. That was their focus. And so that is the correct way to do this charter school. That is the school of choice. So what we need to do, and I believe this is the answer, Tim, is to strip everything back to the basics again.
Mm,
And not that I know everything and I have all the answers, but in my perspective, from my perspective, I think the development and how we've developed has gone so far that it's almost pushed us over the edge to now where we just can't seem to get along
yeah.
and think we can't agree to allow people to think differently and without pushing our own values, our own agendas, our own religion, whatever we believe it has to be right.
Yeah.
And that is to me wrong. It's not what we were founded on. It's not.
Well, like I said, I think we kind of had, and I don't know if it had to do with the 9/11 attack or what, but like we had this, there was this energy in the early 2000s
Yeah.
that started to kind of break apart in the mid 2010s where we all just kind of agreed to disagree if we disagreed on issues. Nobody talked about their politics, really. Like, people might have a political discussion in the break room or whatever, but it never got heated. Nobody got mad at each other. We just kind of agreed to disagree. And people just lived their lives. And we just kind of accepted each other as we're all fellow Americans. We're all working towards the same goal of what's best for America. We have different ideas on how to get there, but at the end of the day, who cares who you vote for? Because we're all just here in the same boat.
Yeah.
I miss that energy, that we were all unified under the idea that, look, we all have different ideas about how America's going to float, but at the end of the day, we're all just here, and nobody got mad at each other. Republicans had Democratic friends, Democrats had Republican friends. You would
There was still a little bit of respect.
You would still
back
chill
then
at the
for
barbecue.
differing
You would
parties.
still chill at the barbecue together. Nobody really cared. Like it, but
It
something
was a
shifted.
private matter.
So yeah,
It
your
was seemed to
politics
be
were
more of a
private.
private matter.
Your
Yeah.
politics were private. Nobody really cared what your politics were.
Yeah.
There might have been one or two extremists here and there, but most people didn't really care. And
Well, there always has been extremists, but
and
it's just like overtaken us
but
now.
all of a sudden
Maybe.
there's something shifted where you have to hate the opposing side. You have to hate each other if you don't agree. And I don't understand that.
So sad.
I wish we could, maybe we need, oh, I probably shouldn't say that.
I'm convinced we just need
I
a
probably
whole
shouldn't say what I was
strip down of government and let's start over again. But
Yeah. No, I agree. Something needs to happen that will make us recognize that we're all in the same boat again. And because I long for that early, and this could be nostalgia, but I long for that early 2000s to mid 2010s energy.
Yeah.
And the difference, I can tell you one major difference that I don't know if this is the core of the issue, but one major difference is politicians were politicians back then.
Yeah.
They were professional. They were trained from college age to do this. This is what they've been training for their whole lives. And it was professional and there was respect. And like you can look at a clip from the George Bush era, and you can look at a clip from the Obama era, and the way that Obama interacted with, I can't remember who was running back then, but the Republican candidate, it was respectful.
Yeah.
It's like I remember people, particularly Christians, talking about how bad Obama was for the country. But bro, I would take an Obama over whatever's going on today on either side. I don't really care. Like, because he was at least a professional and he had a smooth way of talking and he was respectful.
His inauguration, and it was a great day in our history that I don't care. I don't care about all the politics of it. But the fact of the matter that we had our first African American president in the highest position that can be held in the United States of America. What a great day for us that this is our history. This is our, that America has come this far. It's amazing to me. It should have happened a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
A long time ago, but I cried because whether I voted for him or not, I don't even, politics is so not my thing. But all I'm saying is it was still a beautiful day for our country to see.
I remember looking around
to see that happen
and seeing the reactions from people, and I did feel something too. I remember looking around and going, man, no matter how you feel about the guy,
yeah,
this is history being made.
This is history.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, I think that we need to get back to professionalism in the
I do too.
in the public arena. I think there's something missing there. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, Trump's funny. I'll give him that. Like, he's a funny dude, but like, he's disrespectful. And you can't deny that with his introduction into the public arena, that's what shifted the tone, I think, is his extreme disrespect towards the other side. Like, I truly believe that Trump pulled down the professionals to his level.
Well,
that's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. If I get in on this one, because you know how I feel.
Well, and we got to wrap it up. We have a business meeting here.
So you know what? What is the answer? What do we come back to? You know, this all perspective is about
focus on Christ.
Focus on Christ, and how can we bring? What it would be if we could give a solution to him, if we actually what we said could change the world, and could make a difference. I know what I would say.
Don't let your teachers push you around. Whip out that Bible.
Don't be bullied by your teachers or your employers.
You know what? Even give them a good thump with the Bible.
Bible.
Let's start Bible thumping. I'm still down. You know,
you're still down, huh? I would say this. Let's get back to the simple. The simple. Our progression in this area has caused it's just so much disunity, so much disruption, so lack of respect in every area. I mean, so teachers demand kids to respect them, yet the teachers are bullying the kids and saying you can't pray, you can't bring your Bible, which is not a legal thing to do. They shouldn't be doing that. And yes, they can. So this is the truth of the matter. What we need to do is get back in our place. People need to move back into their rightful place. That would help the situation. The church needs to get back to the simple basics of Jesus Christ and spreading the gospel, but not forcing it on anybody. I watched a movie about Mother Teresa. Did I tell you that?
You told me that, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think everybody should watch it. It had a low budget, but it was such a good message. And her message was, I'm here to be Jesus, his hands and feet, to bring healing to the broken, to bring health to the sick, to feed the hungry. This is the gospel of Jesus Christ. And in the process, if someone wants to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, then I get to lead them to Jesus. And this is respecting and valuing life. We don't value life anymore. And you may say, oh, we do as Christians, but wait a second. If we value life, that's a whole nother subject matter. We have to value all life. And so what I'm saying is maybe if we took on the perspective of a Mother Teresa, we could actually make a difference in this world. Actually, you look at the ones that have
just call me Sister Tim.
That have left a legacy. It wasn't because they Bible thumped. It was because they loved like Jesus.
So I can't Bible thump?
No, honey.
Dang it.
No.
Just one person. Just one out-of-pocket person.
We need to go back to that simplicity. We don't have the answers, but all I know is Jesus. And that's, and I think when we come down to it, Jesus also used restraint.
Yes. Yeah.
And whether Christians want to believe that or not, he did use restraint. He said, he's the one who told us to wipe it. I think I can't quote that. I don't know where it was found. But if you're not accepted by your home,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Paul or Jesus.
I believe it was in Matthew when he sends the apostles out two by
to
two.
wipe.
And he says, if you're not accepted in a city, wipe the dust from your feet and move on.
Don't force it. No Bible thumping, Tim.
Dang it.
So rather than push the agenda of prayer in schools again, why not just let's just get back to the basics.
Yeah.
And leave prayer. Leave prayer in our families, in our homes, in the churches, and on the streets, or wherever we want to take it. But it shouldn't. Let's leave all the religion out of the school system. But that's an answer.
I think what we've
Christians
seen
probably wouldn't like me saying.
I think what we've seen over the last 20 years, specifically or so, is the extreme produces the extreme. So it's just we've just seen a domino effect of one extreme event leading to another extreme event leading to another extreme event. It's the idea of it's similar to the idea of violence begets violence. Like somebody's got to end the cycle of violence, right?
Yep.
And I think somebody's just got to end the cycle of extremes. All it would take is one side going, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
We're moving on. You're not worth our time.
Well, I was just going to say this concerning the schools. If you don't, that's our choice. If we don't want the kids to be taught what they're being taught, they shouldn't be being taught some of what they're being taught, and maybe fight that, and maybe fight for that basic structure of education again, the basic core subject matter.
Yeah.
And at that, if it doesn't change, as it doesn't change, pull your kids out and put them in a Christian school, or pull your kids out
and that's
and
what
home
I'm saying.
Educate them. And there's still that choice. There is still that choice for us.
At the end of the day, you have to make the decision what's best for your kids.
Yeah.
Because you can't change the school system or the government overnight. And the reality is if you want to change the school system or the government, you have to change the hearts of the people. I've said it before and I'll say it again all the time.
Yeah.
You can't change a mindset without changing the heart.
Yep.
You have to reach the souls of the people before you can change their mindset and their outlook on life. Because people, again, we're stubborn. We double down.
Yeah.
We double down just to be stubborn sometimes. Or to play devil's advocate or whatever. And we really are. That's just how we're hardwired. We are hardwired to double down into our ideals. And we know it as Christians that the only way that we have changed our outlooks on life and our lifestyles and our mindsets is because the Holy Spirit has entered into us.
Yeah.
Through our salvation. We decided to allow the Holy Spirit to work in us as Christ followers. And that's the only thing that's changed our mindsets. So why would you expect somebody who has these extreme radicalist ideals in your eyes or these worldly ideals in your eyes to change their mindset without that heart transformation?
Yeah.
When that's what it took for you to change your mindset.
So could I take away from what you just said? As I look at this and as we bring this, we wrap it up, could we take away from what you said and what we've talked about that part of the reason society is where it's at is because we haven't, as the church as a whole, been doing things correctly? Maybe we got off track and that's why the world got off track. So
I didn't say it.
Can we correct course, Tim? Can if a remnant decided I'm going to get back to the core values of Christianity and I'm going to start making a difference in this world, I'm going to start doing what Jesus did so that we can start a movement of Christ followers, of people that love like Jesus, move as he moved, love as he loved, do the things he did. would it make a difference? And could we maybe make a difference in this world still today?
Well,
in government
if
today,
we look
in
at
schools today.
examples of the past, like Mother Teresa, her name's still prominent, isn't it?
Come on. That's exactly it.
And we'll also I'll say we'll see, because that's exactly what we're trying to do with Aquatos and all productions. So
yeah,
we'll see, won't we?
Yeah. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, what is Jesus asking us to do?
Right.
Let's go back to, in this situation, I think the best thing to do is to go back to his words and say, what is he saying that we should do to make a difference in this world, to make a difference in our schools, to make a difference in the government, to make a difference in this world? And how do we go about that?
Yeah.
One life at a time. So yeah, this is the only way that we can make any progress, good progress, that is going to bring unity, that is going to bring peace. And if we don't get busy, I'm sure behind the scenes, the Antichrist is working to bring world peace.
Well, what I know and I understand is, I want to pull from Jerry's message this last Sunday, actually, because I thought it was a really interesting, good take. He made me really think. Because he was talking about the division in the country, and he said, maybe not all. He said, I want to pose an idea to you that maybe not all the division is the work of the enemy.
Woo! Leave it to Jerry.
And he referenced in Matthew where Jesus said, I have not come to bring peace, but a sword.
Ooh.
And divide mother against daughter, father against son. Those are Jesus' words. So we understand based on scripture that this was going to happen.
Yeah.
According to God's plan, not the enemy's plan. People like to blame Satan for all the division. But in reality, this division was always destined to happen based on God's plan.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good place to cap it off, is that you just sit back, bowl of popcorn, watch it go down, wait for Jesus to crack the sky. I don't know. Chill in the chaos, I guess.
Well, I think one of his disciples said, why doesn't it happen now, when he was talking about the wheat being separated from the chaff?
Yeah.
And he said, no, we're going to let it grow together. Right?
Yeah.
Until that day. And on that day, then the separation comes. And I think we're seeing that day get closer. And the closer we get, the more separation and division is going to come. I think that confirms what Pastor Jerry was saying.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't want me to call him pastor, but yeah. So, but I'm telling you,
I got you, Jer Bear.
True. Oh, all right. Are you ready? We're going to cap this off. We're gonna go.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope we offended everybody. It's my job.
No, I'm the good cop. He's the bad cop. We're here to unite.
Okay.
Not
offend. Yeah. Unite the church. Yeah, I forgot. My bad. Let my flesh get to me there a little bit. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. If you liked what you watched here, and you agree, you disagree, we don't really care what you agree or disagree with. Just like and subscribe. Give me engagement.
Yeah. It's all about perspective,
Let's
man.
feed the algorithm. And we want to hear your alt perspective as well. So
that's right. That's
even
why
if you disagree, jump in the comments and respectfully disagree.
Yes. Yeah. Respectfully.
We're building a community of respect here. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to respect one another regardless of our differences, as discussed earlier in the episode. So please like, subscribe, comment, share, check out the other content on the channel, check out the Adam perspective, all of the things that we do. We would love your support on. I've been Tim. This has been our pastoral presence, Christy Russell.
So much pressure, dude.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.